She has a big budget, more than $84 million, and is the leader of one of the state's largest law agencies. The new sheriff of Charleston County told me a lot during my one-on-one conversation with her, including her plans to change that department. You clearly had a message during your campaign that resonated with people. It was enough to take this position away from Sheriff Al Cannon. What was that message?
All I could do is tell people what my vision was. And my vision was one of accountability, transparency, and bringing our community back together. And being that link that builds the bridge, rather than the wall.
There were quite a few deputies who left as a result of you taking over as sheriff. What was your reaction to that?
I'm not sure anyone left as a result of me taking over as sheriff. There were people that would not have been invited to participate in this agency because I felt that, the behaviors that I'd seen throughout my career that would have been were toxic were not going to be acceptable here.
Have you always wanted to be a law enforcement officer?
I don't know that I ever wanted to be a law enforcement officer. I think it was a calling that that came to me at a very young age. I didn't know what that meant back then, but it was back in, when I was about 13 years old. My sister was kidnapped and went missing for several days, and I was not home. I was with my grandparents, and when I was able to make it home, it was a couple days later, she was located safely by two officers doing their job. And I remember her saying, after the trauma that she went through, I remember her saying, when I saw those guys pull up, they were in a park, she was in a car and the guy was holding her at knife point. And when she said, when I saw that police car, I knew I'd be safe. I didn't want to be a statistic. I left at a very early age and said, I have to do better. And I, we didn't have the resources. My mom at the time lived in public housing, so we just didn't have what we needed to get through that. We didn't have that strong, not just family unit, but we just didn't have that strong support system.
Charleston County Sheriff Carolyn Graziano. And if you would like to hear my entire conversation with Sheriff Graziano, check out my new podcast, Let's Talk, on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts, Sunday at 11.